Hello YouTube and welcome to Let's Chat. Now, I'm sure you noticed something different. I'm at a different place today. And the reason for that is because I actually have my streaming setup running, which is basically me capturing both, my screen and my webcam. And the reason for that is today we're gonna talk about some programs that I've written. Anyway guys, you are watching Let's Chat. Let's jump right in.
This is 0612 TV.
Welcome aboard. So right, basically what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through 3 of the programs that I've written, just 3 of the more significant ones. So yeah, let's jump right into the screen capture. So okay, I decided to go from the least interesting, so to speak, or perhaps the least glamorous, depending on how you want to look at it. What I have here is a little Minecraft log file converter. Essentially what you do is you take a piece of Minecraft log. So basically the original log isn't very readable, it's a whole bunch of escape sequences like this. But in fact when all of this stuff renders in a console, it looks very nice because it's all color codes. So essentially what my log converter does is it takes in a log and you have some options to split or combine different files if there's ever a need. And if not, you can just click on the convert button. And basically what that does is you get a nice HTML log. So yeah, this is basically just a utility for server owners to be able to, go through their logs in a manner that is easier to read. This program can actually be found online, but it's not very well written. I cannot guarantee it's bug free, quite the contrary. So yeah, I'm not putting this link out there, even though actually I probably flashed it on screen for a second. So yeah, this is just one of the things I'm working on. And out of the 3 things I wanted to show you today, this is probably the least interesting of the 3. So let's move on to the next one. Now, in all the screen captures that I've done, you've probably seen this page. This is basically my little dashboard, which acts as, my home page that links me to all the places that I go to a lot. So one of the things I wanted to highlight was actually this column in the lower right. Just out of habit, I guess, and partially because, I communicate with people from other countries at times, I have both currency conversions as well as a little world time clock. Both the currency information provided here as well as the world time provided in this lower column are actually information that I've taken from various JSON libraries. So essentially, if I would actually browse to this URL, you will see that it returns me a JSON string. Now, in case you haven't been following my channel, you don't know what JSON is, you should check out the Wednesday episode from last week that will tell you what this actually means and how it can be interpreted. So yeah, but that's not the main point I want to bring out here. What I'm trying to say is, so this is actually live information that is coming from some Google app. But here's the deal. These guys basically pay for a certain amount of quota, and basically when their quota runs out, you won't be able to make further queries, which is why you can see basically this is actually using stale data, because the actual site that is providing this, so I can actually come here to look at the original site, this is the one, you will see that they are over quota, and as a result this request does not go through. So in order to work around this limitation, what I have is this little caching system. So basically what happens is every time this page loads, it will actually take a look at the cookies, because that's where I cache the previous information. So in fact, you can see it here in the console. If I would say document.cookie, it will show me, the information I have saved from the previous session. So first it checks the cookie, it checks the time in which, the cookie was last created. And the way I have it set up is basically, if the information that was put into the cookie is more than 30 minutes old, then it will actually try to go online and look for, the freshest data. So basically what we're seeing here is 2 conditions. This guy sees that it has stale data and is trying to go to the website that provides the time, but it realizes that the website is not serving up actual time information. Which is why you can see it going like, I tried to look for latest information, but we don't have it. So what you're seeing here is based off old cache data, which is 13 hours old. This guy is slightly different here. Basically, it says Well, I'm using cache data as well, but this cache data is just 16 minutes old. And in fact, I see that I have cache data that's 16 minutes old, which is why I don't go to the actual website to make a query. That way, I'm being nice by not wasting their quota. Which I mean is something that I'm supposed to do, seeing as that I'm not even hosting this on a web page that people are actually viewing. This is for my own personal use, so I don't want to waste too much of their quota. So yeah, I just have this fancy little dot that changes color depending on the status. So yeah, just a fancy little caching system that saves information inside a cookie. So yeah, I thought this was mildly interesting, especially because there's a little flashing light, and we all love flashing lights. But anyway, let's move on once again back to Java, where I show you one of the more graphically interesting things I've done. So this is a little system called 0612 particles, and essentially the main screen looks something like this. Now, this is a modular particle system, and what this means is these are all modules. I can add as many or as little as I like. So I'm just gonna show you a very simple setup right now. I'm actually going to just put in this, put in some gravity, put in an emitter, and that's it. So right off the bat, things are already running. I can move the emitter around, I can increase the amount of particles, I can increase the velocity, I can change the color of the particles. So yeah, this is a particle system. So let's make this a little less crazy, something like that. So as I mentioned, this is modular. I can add as many or as little things as I like. So I can add another emitter, I can control its settings independently of the first one, and yeah, they can just, well, work together. So yeah, basically each one of this is a module that I can add, remove, duplicate, configure separately. So yeah, this is actually a pretty powerful system, mainly because every single one of these plugins can be coded in any way. So the way this works is basically, well, every one of these little plugins is passed the whole list of particles. They can do whatever they like to the particles, they can add, remove, modify existing ones, whatever, and you can basically use that to do really trippy effects. So what you're seeing on screen are just these two generators, but generation is not the only thing you can do. For example, I can add my favorite modifier, the vortex modifier. So this doesn't look very special, but whatever particles it gets, it traps inside. And yeah, so basically it does this little effect that involves just making the particles kind of orbit. So yeah, I can even go ahead and remove the emitters, and well, this guy continues working. Don't mind this line, by the way, it's a bug that I haven't been able to solve. And yeah, I can do basically whatever manner of cool things I decide. I also have this different emitter. It's based on the emitter you've already seen, but this one only runs when I click the screen. So this actually allows me to do things like this, and I can change the color, change the velocity, change the rate, and I can draw another line. So yeah, this system is actually pretty versatile. I did not expect it to work this well, but it actually works really well. And yeah, you can do lots of trippy things like this. So particles are one of my most favorite things, and now that I've learned, some software engineering techniques at school, I'm actually able to, properly abstract things, and I guess just make things work on a bigger scale, which, well, in fact, this program is pretty scalable in that sense. So yeah, this is my little particle system. This program is also unreleased. I've actually never thought about releasing this because I don't know what kind of practical use people will get out of it. Oh yeah, I still have the gravity on. If I don't have the gravity on, Vortex probably works a little bit better. The reason for that is just, well, if the gravity is off, you know that the movement is uniform. So in fact, I can add the gravity back in. It's not very obvious, but the movement of the particles is actually kind of unbalanced. I can also tweak this around, and you can watch the particles kind of bounce inside the vortex. So I mean, yeah, this program actually does quite a lot of things. I'm actually pretty surprised by it as well. But yeah, I guess this is one of the flashiest things that I have written so far, and it's definitely quite a bit of fun to play with. I wouldn't deny that. I'm not just saying that because it's a program I wrote. But yeah. So well, basically there you have it. These are some of the programs that I've written. Anyway, that pretty much wraps it up for this rambly episode. I just wanted to share a little bit because I've always been saying I do programming, but I've never really shown much of my work. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing some of the things I've been doing. But once again, that pretty much wraps it up for this episode. Your usual good tutorials and review stuff will come back next week, of course. So yeah, until then, you are watching 0612 TV. Hello, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, remember that I appreciate every like, favorite and comment you give me. If you'd like to see more from me in the future, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And for more updates outside of YouTube, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at 0612TV. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.